Welcome to Real Estate Radio Live, an informative and engaging hour discussing everything you need to know about the world of real estate. Your host, Joe Kuchera, provides you with insight and guidance on how to buy, sell, finance, and invest in real estate. He also offers real estate tax management strategies, new construction advice, home improvement tips, and much, much more. And now, to guide you around the world of real estate, here's your host and Real Estate Radio Live team leader, Joe Kuchera.
Welcome in, Joe Kuchera with Real Estate Radio Live. Thank you for spending some time with us this afternoon as we again kick off the first week. As we roll through this week, we are back live. Just as a reminder for those that hopefully you missed us, we're not live for a while. We're doing podcasts. We were live for 7 years and now back again Monday through Friday from 3 to 4. Be sure to tune in if you can, although we have all kinds of different options for you by design. We have a live show for you now from 3 to 4, so people in the Bay Area could tune in on the radio or anywhere. Actually, you could tune in anywhere and listen to it if you go to the website, kdow.biz. So for those that are outside of our area, in the Bay Area, during the show, if you want to tune in and listen, if you go to kdow.biz, you could tune in and listen to the show live no matter where you are in the country or wherever. Here locally, 3 to 4 p.m., you could listen live, and then this content becomes our podcast. So we post our podcast up every day, and you'll get that in the afternoons going forward. If you don't have access to the podcast, please do so. Go on to iTunes. If you go to either iTunes or you go to our website, RERadiolive.com, and download the podcast. It's Real Estate Radio Live, RERadiolive.com, and you could download the podcast, follow the show anytime, anywhere, and listen to it at your convenience. Again, Monday through Friday, we're live from 3 to 4, and you could tune in during the live portion at KDOW 1220 AM. If you want to chime in, if you want to give us a call, we'd love to hear from you. We love the callers, the response, kind of the feedback, questions, anything you have for us during the live portion. You can reach us at 1-800-516-1220. That's 1-800-516-1220. If you'd like to reach me, if you're listening to this via podcast, the way to reach me would be 408-838-9060, or you could always email joe@reradiolive.com. All right, a couple topics today and two things I'm going to discuss. The first part of the show, I'm going to talk a little bit about strategies of getting your offer accepted or having a better chance of getting your offer accepted. Most of you know, if you're out there, whether you're in the real estate industry or if you're a consumer listening to this, it's a really tough market right now for buyers, and it's very challenging. It's great for sellers. You're getting top dollar, in some cases much, much more, and that's wonderful. But on the buy side, it's extremely challenging. So there are some things that I'm going to share with you today that I think will help you. Some may already know these, some may not. But in my opinion, there's a couple different things, 2 or 3 different things to give you a better chance to get your offer accepted, and I'm going to go through those in the first part of the show. The second part of the show, the last 2 segments, I'm going to talk a little bit about a review of technology, how it's changing real estate and lending. You'll hear this topic a lot on my show the next several months and actually going forward a lot. And the reason why is because we live in a world where things are changing all the time. And there is no difference, and we are not immune to that in the real estate industry and in lending. We're just not. Some people will rest on their laurels and say that, it's different. It's the biggest purchase someone will ever make in their life. It's the biggest financial decision to make in their life. That's true. But it doesn't mean that technology is not going to affect the way that decision or that transaction takes place. That's a wake-up call for some people. So the line is, it is changing. It will change. It won't change overnight. But technology and the evolution and money invested into this industry is going to slowly change the industry and change it in a big way in the next 5 to 10 years. It just is. So I think as a consumer, you should be educating yourself how that changes, what kind of options that means for you. Also, if you're in the industry, I think, seriously, for those that are in the industry, do not think that this is not going to change and then this whole structure, because it will eventually. There's little bits and pieces that are going on. So the reason why you'll continue to hear a lot about this on my show, and I'll bring it up, is that I want to bring the very best, latest, updated information about real estate to you, the consumer, but also the real estate industry. And the way I'm going to do that is to be real about the stuff that's going on. Certainly some of it's people's different opinions and different models, but we're going to discuss that. So the second part of the show, we'll talk a little bit about real estate in technology, lending, how is it changing a little bit in going ahead in the future. And if you haven't tuned in lately, I'll continue to remind everyone that I'm excited over the next couple of months. We're going to have an ongoing series of technology and the change for the future of real estate and lending. And so with that, I'm going to be interviewing experts, venture capitalists that put their money behind startup companies. And then on the other side, I'm going to be interviewing executives for these startup companies to get their opinions on it as well. So love your feedback during the show at any time. You could call again, 1-800-516-1220, or you could email during the show. And we give you all these different options. It's almost too hard to follow all this stuff. You could also text your questions during the show. Some people do that. 408-838-9060. Again, if you want to text during the show, I'll be happy to read those and answer your text. 408-838-9060. If you want to text, make sure you're doing that safely. Don't be doing it while you're driving and operating machinery, but do it. Would love to answer those as well. Quick reminder before I jump into the topics today. Tomorrow, really excited about the event, the first event we're having this year, and most likely the last, only because of the time of the year. So we'd love to have as many people come out as possible. We're having a live radio show event and mixer at the Toll House Hotel in Los Gatos. And we're doing the live radio show from 3 to 4. I'm going to have some guests on with me, really excited about it. One of our vice presidents for New American Funding, who I work with, Frank Fuentes, he's going to be on with us. And then we're also going to have the two founders of Century 21, M&M, with us, Mr. John Milo and then Larry Matos are both going to join us live on the show tomorrow at the event from 3 to 4. And then from 4 to 6, we have a mixer, appetizers. We're expecting a large group. And most of the time we have the majority are industry people, but I would love to get as many consumers as there as possible. So I know it's a busy time. It's the time of the day, traffic and all that stuff. But if any of you that follow the show, if you want to come out and say hi and visit, we'd love to see you again at the Toll House in Los Gatos tomorrow for the live show and mixer. All right, so let's talk a little bit about better strategies or strategies to get your offer accepted. We all know that we're in a market where it's low inventory, and if you're out there looking to buy a home, you're feeling this pain. You're thinking, what do I have to do? I'm losing out on my offer. I end up being, not good enough when I think 20% down was good enough, or someone's paying all cash, or someone's overbidding, and you're losing out. Well, sometimes it's just bad luck, unlucky. So there's a couple of things that I want to recommend that you do to get a better chance, to have a better chance to get your offer accepted. The number one, ladies and gentlemen, is not a strategy, but it's a decision. The number one thing you could do to have a better chance to have your offer accepted is make sure you're working with the right real estate agent. Now, there's a lot of people that don't think it matters, but it does. I work with real estate agents every single day. I have for the last 20 years. It matters. There's a lot of wonderful, in every industry, it doesn't matter, there's a lot of wonderful people out there and that do a great job, do a good job. But the fact is this, and it's the same really in our industry, in the lending industry, approximately 10% of the realtors do 90% of the business if you go in just about any market you go to. And the reason why that is there's a small group that really do a really good job and focus on real estate as a business, and they treat it like a business, and they do their homework, they do what they're supposed to do, they understand the markets, they're relational, they network, they understand what they know neighborhoods, they have strategies, they have negotiating skills. There's a big difference. So first and foremost, make sure you choose the right real estate agent. I've seen people before. Seriously. It is more than a coincidence. I work with a lot of real estate agents. It is more than a coincidence that some real estate agents, ladies and gentlemen, I'm telling you, this is true. Some real estate agents have a high percentage of getting their offer accepted over others. It's amazing. I'll work with some, and percentage-wise, for some reason, in the same market, they'll have a higher percentage of getting those offers accepted than the person next to them, that for some reason, no matter what happens, the clients that they're working with, the offers aren't getting accepted, and they're getting turned down. Now, again, some of it's just bad luck, bad timing. There's factors that go into it. This is not an exact science. But what I'm saying is the number one decision, the number one thing you could do to have a better chance of getting your offer accepted is make sure you're working with the right real estate agent. Okay, so that's a decision. That's not a strategy. That's a decision. Make sure you understand. Obviously, if you need a real estate agent, if you want recommendations, I work with some great real estate agents. I'm happy to refer them, and we could do that. All right, we're going to take the first break. When I come back, I'm going to continue discussing the strategies to have a better chance to get your offer accepted. Remember, the number one thing is make sure you're working with the right real estate agent. When I come back, I'm going to talk a little bit more about those strategies. This is Joe Kuchera with Real Estate Radio Live. Thanks again for checking in with us today. Stick with us. We'll be back with you to continue in just a couple minutes.
For more information on today's program, visit RERadiolive.com. That's RERadiolive.com.
Picture your dream home, that view from the deck, the master suite you've always wanted, the backyard finally big enough for that swing set. Now picture that home next year with a higher price tag or a bigger mortgage. Suddenly it's not quite so attractive, is it? Hi, this is Joe Kuchera, host of Real Estate Radio Live. We call that example the cost of waiting, and depending on the market movement, that cost can be high. The next 6 to 12 months are projected to be a time where both interest rates and home prices trend upward. Why pay a bigger mortgage for the same house next year? If you need help deciding when the time is right to buy, the best thing we can do is decide if the time is right for you. If the current market means making the most of your purchasing power, why wait? In a quick call, we could discuss what the cost of waiting means to you. I would hate to see anyone pay more for the same home next year. Call 408-838-9060 or email joe@RERadiolive.com.
Real estate broker Cal DRE, NMLS number 6606.
Welcome back to Real Estate Radio Live, streaming live on iHeart, TuneIn, and KDOW.biz. For more information on today's topic or guest, just visit RERadiolive.com. That's RERadiolive.com. Again, your host for Real Estate Radio Live, Joe Kuchera.
Welcome back in. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. Joe Kuchera with Real Estate Radio Live with you 5 days a week, Monday through Friday. Tune in and listen at KDOW 1220 AM. If you can't listen to the live show, be sure to download the podcast. You could do that at iTunes, or you could go to RERadiolive.com. During the live show, we'd love to hear from you, 1-800-516-1220, or you could text your questions. It looks like we have at least one, maybe two texts already. I'll try to get to those. If you want to text your questions during the show, or contact 408-838-9060. When we took the first break, I was talking about the strategies, have a better chance of getting your offers accepted. Real quickly, the number one is not a strategy, it's a decision. Make sure you hire and you use the right real estate agent. You might ask, well, how do I know it's the right real estate agent? Well, if you're not sure, then check with people you know. Check with people that have used real estate agents. Do a little research. Talk with people, a family, someone that's had a lot of success with them. And believe me, it's not just a coincidence, ladies and gentlemen. It is not. You need to, at any time, you need to make sure you're working with the right team. And by the way, it also goes for the right lender, the right title company, the right real estate agent. But it's the critical piece of getting your offer accepted is make sure that's the decision to work with the right agent. Okay, on the strategies, now there's a couple different things. Let's talk about how you could put in an offer and have no contingencies. The big thing today, if most of you are in this market and you understand, you're seeing it most of a day, and it is what it is. It's sad. You could argue about it. You could stomp your feet and bounce around. But the bottom line is the market is the market. And by the way, the market is the reason for this. It's not anything that I did. It's not anything that anybody else did. There's some of us that would say, this is what's going on and this is what I've done. Don't be fooled. Here's the deal. The low inventory and the reason for the accelerated prices and the appreciation growth so quickly is because of the market. It's supply and demand. That's it. We're fortunate. We're all lucky to be in an area. Some people might say it's not so lucky that we've had these run-ups in prices. So for people who, own a place, that's great. People are going to look to buy. It's a little bit challenging because of the market they're getting into. So the first thing is you're going to want to try to schedule or put a strategy together, do a non-contingent offer. How do you do that? Well, if you have a home to sell, that's a problem. It's sad to say, but it is. You could have a very strong offer, but if you have a home to sell and the sale of that home is contingent on the purchase of the home you're looking at, it's sad, but it's true. It's not going to work so much today. I'm not saying it won't work, but it's very challenging and it probably won't. So you ask, well, what can I do? There's some things you could do you may not know. And I know some people get a little bit nervous about this, but that's what we're here for, is to educate. So your current home that you have, if you have enough equity in that home, let's say the home that you're selling and that you haven't sold yet but you want to sell is worth $1 million. And let's say you owe $300,000 on it. And now you're out looking for $1.5 million home, roughly. And you don't quite have the down payment. You need the money from the sale of your home to make that happen. So you're upset, you're disappointed because the thought is there's nothing you could do. You got to be able to put your house on the market. And then, of course, you say to your agent, well, if I put my house on the market and sell it, what if I can't find a place and then I'm stuck? Where am I going to live? It's a dilemma. So if you have enough equity in your home, there's a couple things you could do. Okay? You could do bridge financing. What is that? That means that there is financing available out there, and it's a little pricey, but it depends on how aggressive you want to be. You could actually put together, and I have people that I work with this. It's typically private money, people who do bridge loans, companies, investors that do bridge loans. What they will do is actually bridge money, equity against the home that you currently have, to make it possible so that you can make a non-contingent offer on the house you're looking at. Now, you might ask, how does that happen? And I don't have a whole lot of time to go into detail. Call me for the details. But basically, the bottom line is an investor looks at your current home, and if there's enough equity there, they will bridge the money. Let's say, for instance, you're purchasing a $1.5 million home, 1.5, okay? And maybe you have 100 or 100,000, but you don't quite have enough for the down payment that you want. The investor on the bridge will actually use the equity from your exiting home. And we could do that financing, combination of the bridge financing and with someone like me that does the regular financing, or in some cases, they will bridge the whole purchase temporarily. Now, let's say the loan you needed, let's just say, for instance, was $700,000 or $800,000, right? So there's a $600,000 or $700,000 down payment issue here, or difference that you were really, in a perfect world, you were going to want to use if you sold your home. So if you did that, and let's just say that you got the entire let's say you have a $700,000 loan, bridge loan, okay? It's going to be a little bit costly. It's typically going to cost you about 2 points, and points are a percentage of the loan. So it might cost you about $14,000. Again, this is just an example, just for the fee up front to make that happen. And then you're going to pay a higher interest rate. You're going to pay probably 8 to 9% interest only on that money. Now, to me, the interest rate is not that critical because you're going to probably hold that loan for a short period of time. You may not even make 1 or 2 payments. But $14,000 in this situation, sometimes it's even more than that. That's expensive. That's expensive, right? You would agree. Let's say it's costing you $14,000 to $15,000 to do this bridge loan. Now, that's expensive, yes, but is it really, if you lose the home that you really want and you miss out on that home and you could have got it for 1.5, and now the next home, because of what the market's doing, is now you're going to offer 1.5. Now you're going to offer more than 1.5 on the next house or a month later because the market keeps going up. And you're chasing this uphill battle. Now, that's not always this way, but I'm not suggesting you go out and do a private loan or a bridge loan. But what I'm explaining to you, there are options here. If you really want to go with a non-contingent offer, there are options to do this. And one of them is do bridge financing. If you want more details on that, contact me, and I can walk you through that in a more detailed way. But that is a strategy, okay? The other one is to leverage your pledge assets. So if you have a certain amount of assets in your investments, retirement, certain amount of money, believe it or not, we could also leverage those assets. It's called pledging assets. Pledging, I talked a little bit about that yesterday. You could use that money, your investments, to pledge money to use toward your down payment to make a non-contingent offer. Again, temporarily, until you sell your home. Then what you do is once you sold your home, you would come in and pay off those temporary loans, the bridge loan, the pledged assets. You would pay those things off once you sold your home. But the idea is you could do a non-contingent offer and get the home potentially that you want. Now, the other thing that a lot of people don't know, and this is a little bit more of a strategy before we take a break, let me try to get this in, is if you time it right. Let's say you're working with a real estate agent and you're out looking for a home, and what you're doing is strategically you don't want to do any of these other kind of unique, different strategies. But if you put your home on the market, let's say you're finding a home, you have your home ready, okay? You put it on the market or you have it ready to go on the market at a minute's notice, okay? And boom, you find the house you love. As soon as you submit the offer, it looks like you're going to get it. And you get it immediately because you've done your homework with your realtor. You put your home on the market, bam, right away, okay? Some good things could happen if you do that. And I'm going to take a quick break. I'm going to come back. I'm going to finish up my thoughts on that. And I'm going to finish up a little bit on its strategies, again, a better chance of getting your offer accepted. Joe Kuchera with Real Estate Radio Live. Stick with us. I'll be back with you to continue in just a couple of minutes. 1-800-516-1220 if you want to call in.
For more information on today's program, visit RERadiolive.com. That's RERadiolive.com. Welcome back to Real Estate Radio Live, streaming live on iHeart, TuneIn, and KDOW.biz. For more information on today's topic or guest, just visit RERadiolive.com. That's RERadiolive.com. Again, your host for Real Estate Radio Live, Joe Kuchera.
Welcome back in. Thank you for joining us again this afternoon. Joe Kuchera with Real Estate Radio Live. We're with you 5 days a week, Monday through Friday from 3 to 4. You can tune in for the live show at KDOW 1220 AM. If you can't make it for the live show, then we'd love to have you download the podcast. You could do that by going to iTunes or RERadiolive.com. That's RERadiolive.com. Download the podcast. Follow us anywhere you like, what's convenient for you. We on the second segment, I want to finish up. We were talking about strategies of having a better chance of getting your offer accepted. And so the last one I wanted to go through with you would be this is more of a timing play. So again, real quickly, if you have your house, you have a strategy together with your real estate agent. You have a house that's ready to sell, ready to put on the market. You've done all the work. It's prepped. It's ready to go. It shows well. It's staged, whatever, and it's good to go. All right. So if you're in a position like that, now you're out looking for a property. Okay. So you think you found the property. You put your offer in on this property. It looks like you're going to get accepted, and it get accepted. As soon as you get that offer accepted, then you get your house on the market right away. Now, here's the good news, most of you know. Most of the time, if your house is priced right, it's going to sell quick, right? Okay, so you get your house on the market right away, get a buyer. Here's the key. Make sure you get the buyer that either has no contingencies or you can remove them quickly. Now, follow me here because this is where it works. So the minute you get a buyer for your home that you just sold, okay, the minute you get a buyer and you release all contingencies, or maybe there's no contingencies on that offer, guess what? The lender of record that you're purchasing the new home with will release those liabilities. In other words, they won't count against you. Let's say you have a $300,000 loan on your exiting property, and you just sold it for $1 million. Okay? The minute you have a buyer that releases all contingencies on your current home, those liabilities are released and do not count with the lender that you're working on your purchase. Now, a lot of people don't know that. It takes timing. It takes some strategy. It takes someone who understands what they're doing on the lending side. It takes a real estate agent that understands what they're doing. But that's the other way you could work at offering a non-contingent offer. Now, it's a little bit risky, right? It's a little bit risky. I understand that. And some people will do some different strategies, maybe put a property inspection in there instead of an appraisal or financing, and there's some different ways around it. And this is where it comes back to sit down and have a great strategy with your real estate agent and then whatever lender you're working with so you have a better chance of getting your offers accepted. I have two texts here. Let me get to them real quick. Both of them are pretty much the same thing. So one of them is Sandy asking, how do I know I'm working with the right real estate agent? So I'll respond on the air and I'll text her later. So, and George is really almost asking the same thing, but where do I find and how do I know? So it's kind of the same question. They're both asking, they're looking for a real estate agent. How do I find the right one? How do I know I'm working with the right real estate agent? Well, so if you want, you can call me. I have some great recommendations for some great real estate agents. The other thing is check with people you know. Check with friends, families, coworkers, and ask them who they would prefer. And please do yourself a favor. Be very, very skeptical and careful if it's a family friend or it's my brother or my sister or my niece or uncle. I'm not saying that's potentially bad, but when you're in a market like this, seriously, you really need someone that understands the market, that knows what they're doing, and that has got, that has a strategy to really help you have a better chance to succeed. And it's not easy right now. It's not. So you have to be working with the right people. So for those that text in, thank you. I'll actually return the text later on, and I'll give you some recommendations if you like, or you could call in, and I'll answer those. All right. So with the time we have left, we have a few minutes left in this segment. And then one more segment. I will talk a little bit about some of the changes in technology and how it's affecting real estate and lending. Let me just give you a kind of a quick overview, and that is it is changing. You'll hear that a lot from me. You'll continue to hear that. I spend a lot of time researching, looking at data, interviewing, reading, and it's amazing what's going on out there. I could tell you almost $3 billion a year is going in investment capital to disrupt this industry. Okay, so on the real estate side, there's a bunch of different models out there. I don't have time to go through them today. Over the next couple of months, we'll be interviewing some of these people with these different business models. There's business models that would suggest that, do you really need a real estate agent? There's companies like Open Door and iBuyer and some others that would suggest they just have a chest full of money. They have all kinds of cash, and they go out and buy your house. They negotiate and buy your house. I'll give you some quick answers on these as far as I go, as far as I'm concerned, because, again, I'm in the middle of this every single day, and I'm reading and ciphering through this data every single day, and I'm comparing these different models, and I interview people from these models. And there's a lot of information that I collect to pass on to you, the consumer. In my opinion, that model, the iBuyer, the Open Door, the concept where someone other than a real estate agent goes to you and negotiates and buys your home, is not going to work in an area like this, or it's not going to work and not have much success at all in high-cost areas. It just isn't. That concept and that model is probably going to have some traction in a place where you have an average sales price of $200,000. It's going to have some traction in a market where you could flip properties. It is. It'll have some traction. But can you imagine in a market like this, where the average home price is $1.1 million, by the way, in these counties, roughly, and up? Can you imagine someone contacting a homeowner and saying, I'll tell you what, we think your home's worth 1.2, and we don't want to put it on the market. We don't want you to pay for staging. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to do open houses, by the way, because this is our pitch. But we'll offer you. We'll make an offer, $1.2 million. Well, how do you ever know? I mean, are you kidding me? In a market like this, there's a chance, number one, you're going to leave a lot of money on the table. So that's the first thing. The second thing is what drives me crazy, that these companies and these models, they don't disclose. Well, I shouldn't say they disclose them, but you got to dig deep to find it, and they don't talk about it. Their fees are higher than the normal 6% that a lot of these people charge. If you lift the hood up, get under the covers, however you want to talk about it, and look at the details of these, like iBuyer and Open Door and some of these, they charge 8 to 10% to buy your home, to sell your home, I should say. They charge 8 to 10%. They're trying to sell you on convenience, don't worry about title and escrow. Don't worry about people trouncing through your homes. Don't worry about marketing, open houses, all that kind of stuff. Again, my opinion, I study this stuff. I interview these people. I get this information on a regular basis. That is not the model that's going to work and have any traction in an area like this or many other areas where there's low inventory and the prices of homes are worth this much. Might work in a market where the average home is $200,000. Might work in flipping. Okay, some of the other ones, there's what I call menu-based services. So there's some models out there that'll say, go to our website, and you choose the things you want to do, and you choose the things that you want to contract us to do. And I'll give you an example. So you go onto their website, and you might say, I'll tell you what, I'll do my own open house, but I want someone to write the contract. I want someone to work with the listings for my home. I'd like someone to stage my home. So it's like a menu-based program. And every time you choose something, you're going to either pay a flat fee for, and then they're going to contract or they're going to help you choose an agent to do the things that you need to do with a licensed agent. This may works. It probably works for some people. And, the other thing I'll say here is the great thing about the world, the business we live in, all kinds of models are out there. It doesn't mean, they're going to work a little bit here, a little bit there. There's no right or wrong. But the ones that have traction is different. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that as much. We're going to go into more detail because I cannot cover this much information in one show, certainly in a couple of segments. So the menu-based programs, here are the problems with that. This is for people. This type of service would work for someone that's retired, maybe has a lot of time on their hands, maybe they think they're an expert and they could do it better than someone else, all kinds of different reasons. But you can imagine, I'll take myself for example, or anybody else that's busy and that's, either working every day or has a business or a family or, whatever you're doing. Do you really want to take time out of your day, depending on the money you make or what you're doing, to get your own house ready for an open house? To worry about how you're going to market it? Maybe. Some people might want to do that. My point is it's probably going to work for some people. And then they figure, well, Joe, by doing this, guess what? I could save $12,000. Okay. If your time is not worth that much and maybe that makes sense, I'm not saying it's right or wrong, then that's great. But that's, again, another service out there that is being talked about and discussed. The other one is, we're going to take a break in a second, and I'm going to come back and finish up. The other one is more of a strategy where they will match you. It's almost like a dating service. They will best match you with the best agent depending on, instead of Match.com, it's matchmyrealtor.com. I'm kidding about that. It's kind of like that, though. But when I come back, I'm going to finish up, and I'll get serious about this. I really will. I'll come back and finish up on this one. Joe Kuchera with Real Estate Radio Live. If you have any questions, 1-800-516-1220. Text 408-838-9060. I'll be back with you to continue in just a couple minutes.
For more information on today's program, visit RERadiolive.com. That's RERadiolive.com. Welcome back to Real Estate Radio Live, streaming live on iHeart, TuneIn, and KDOW.biz. For more information on today's topic or guest, just visit RERadiolive.com. That's RERadiolive.com. Again, your host for Real Estate Radio Live, Joe Kuchera.
Welcome back in. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. Joe Kuchera with Real Estate Radio Live. As we wrap up the final segment here, we're with you Monday through Friday from 3 to 4. Be sure to tune in, KDOW 1220 AM. Also, if you can't listen to the live show, make sure to download the podcast. Same content. Follow us at, you could do that at iTunes, Real Estate Radio Live, or RERadiolive.com. You could download the podcast as well. All right, so let me finish up on the different models out there with real estate, and then I'll touch a little bit on the lending side as well. And that is, right before I took a break, before I was talking about one of the other models out there is it's a matching. Basically, it's a matching service, and similar. I was joking, but similar like a dating service. What it is you go on the website, and there's several companies like that. There's HomeLight. I think Home Bay and a couple others to give us some examples. I have lists of them here. You go on and you say, okay, I'm thinking about selling my house in Cupertino, and you enter some information. And then what happens is they have the algorithms and all the details and the research behind the scenes, vetted information that supposedly matches you with the top agents or someone that's more qualified to sell your home, for instance. So you might go in and enter your house. Okay, I want to sell my home in Cupertino. And this is the price range, this is the area, this is zip code, and up comes maybe 5 or 6 agents, and it gives you the data and the information on these agents. You know, how many homes have they sold? Did they get over asking price? If they did, what's the percentage over asking price? The idea of this one is that they match agents with potentially with the right customer. Now, this is pretty good. I think it's all right. The thing that I don't like about this, and the little, I think the flaw in this, or the little, the issue that I don't really think it's, it's going to work in some cases, but not in a large scale. And here's the reason. Just because it's a top agent for the most part, or just because it's a person that sold the most properties, or maybe just because it's a person that did the most in that area, does not always mean that it's going to be the right real estate agent for you. It's just not going to happen. And, I haven't, go through and, test some of these things out. I've tested them all out. So it may not necessarily be the right person for you. Now, you might say, hey, Joe, care. I'm going to take the person that sold the most homes, that got the most money, on and on and on, right? Maybe it doesn't matter. I don't care what they're like. I don't care what their personality is. I don't care if I like them. If they save me money, I'm going to do it. And maybe if that's for you, that's fine. And that's one of the models that's out there that's being thrown around as well. Let me finish this up with some hard, real statistics to put things in perspective. In the next couple of weeks, I'll share more about what I think is going to happen and what I think the best models are going forward, and I'm really confident about it. Here are some statistics for you. Some may or may not know this. Okay, 94 to 95% of people start their search online when it comes to real estate. Okay, most of you may do it, maybe don't. So what's that mean? That means you have a more educated buyer. You have a person that's more prepared, more ready, understanding, more confident, ready to go. Now, when they make a decision to go sell their home or buy a home, guess what? Almost 9 out of 10 people, it's like 88%, almost 9 out of 10 people still choose a qualified realtor. What's that tell you? What it tells you, and it tells us, and these are real statistics. This is not something I made up. What it tells us is that people are more educated, they're smarter, they're ready to go, they're adapted, they're using technology, but they still want to use a real estate agent. Okay, I'm going to take you through this again. All right. Next thing is statistics tell people almost 6.5 or whatever. 65% of people, guess what? They want to use a real estate agent, but they expect to be able to negotiate. So this is the thing that has increased over the last several years. They expect to negotiate. What's that mean? They aren't going to accept just any fee or charge that someone charges them. They're going to negotiate. Again, 65+% of people, they feel like they want to negotiate, and they should be able to negotiate. That's a big number. The other thing that's changing is nearly 60% of people surveyed say that they think that their real estate agents should be making a better use of technology. This is where the big problem lies. This is where the biggest problem lies. And I'm not going to go over it today. That's why for the next couple of months we're going to talk about this in really a lot of detail. Our industry, including lending, terrible job with technology. Terrible. If it's a scale of 1 to 10 and 10 is off the charts using the best technology in the world, we're probably a 2.5 or a 3. Really. It's a shame. And that's going to change. That's going to change a bit. It's not going to change overnight, but that is coming. The last thing that I'll say, I'm going to briefly on the lending side. The lending side is changing too. And I could tell you right now, if it's a conforming loan, technology is really driving change right now for loans at $424,000 or less. In some cases, it's $636,000 or less, depending on the conforming area. That is changing technology. Why? Because you can make quick decisions. You can make quick decisions. Before we duck out today, don't be fooled by Rocket Mortgage, Steamline Mortgage, all that stuff, ladies and gentlemen. It's marketing. It's marketing. Anybody could get you approved in 5 minutes. Seriously. It depends on what kind of loan you want, what your profile looks like. Don't let people mislead you to say that no matter what their profile is, they could get you approved in 5 minutes. It is easy if you have a $200,000 loan or a $400,000 loan, or if you're a W-2 income earner. It's easy, but it's not if it's challenging or you're self-employed. It changes. Everything changes. All right. Unfortunately, running out of time. Hope you enjoyed the show. Remember, come out and join us tomorrow. It's at the Toll House Hotel in Los Gatos. For more information, go to RERadiolive.com. Thanks again for tuning in today. Until tomorrow, have a great afternoon.
You've been listening to Real Estate Radio Live. For more information on today's program, visit RERadiolive.com. That's RERadiolive.com. Tune in, log in, download our podcast. Discover more at RERadiolive.com. RERadiolive.com.